Hey guys, how y'all doing today? Good. Well, today I have for you a Smith & Wesson model 686-3. Now ignore the dirt and grime on this one. It's filthy. I shot it the other day and have yet to clean it. But as you can tell, it's stainless. So there's no harm in that. I mean, obviously I'll clean it, but it ain't want to go to hell real quick if I don't. So this particular 686-3 was made in 1992. That's its production year. It has some features that the modern 686s do not have, as in 92 and forward. First of all, it doesn't have any MIM parts in it. That is their, whereas the newer models, they start to do the MIM process. Also, this one has some features that you don't find on modern Smith & Wessons. For instance, it has the rounded cylinder release, whereas on the modern post-92 Smith & Wessons, they have the slanted cylinder release. See what I mean there? See that? Also, this 686 does not have the Hillary hole or the dreaded California lock that takes the key. You can render the firearm useless by locking it off. This one does not have that. Also, another feature that stands out pretty good is the hammer nose or firing pin, whichever you prefer to call it. When it's attached to the hammer, I believe it's called the nose. But for all intents and purposes, it's a firing pin. It strikes the primer. That's what that is. We'll go ahead and refer to it as a firing pin, even though I'm aware that it is a hammer nose. Right? This here. The newer versions of this, modern production versions of this gun, they have a flat hammer that is void, the nose or the firing pin, and actually has a transfer bar with the frame mounted firing pin. It's a safety feature, makes it drop safe, yada yada yada. These actually have a hammer block though that rides inside the side plate that actually stops it from firing without the trigger being depressed fully to the rear. So it still has more or less the internal safety of, like, say, the transfer bar. Same premise, different execution. Let's put it that way. So obviously, this not being a plus, here, I'll show you, it's unloaded real quick. So just so you guys know, so there's never any question, before I start these videos, I take the time to clear everything. And if it wasn't clear, we wouldn't be doing the video. So there's no ammo on my bench. It's safe, right? So where was I? Son of a gun. Oh, so this is obviously, because it's an early production, it is only a 6-round. It is not the plus. The 686 pluses are 7 rounds. Obviously, this has a fluted cylinder. What else? So it does. This version does have the red insert on the front sight ramp. Yeah, there you go. You can see that. Pretty nice. Your eye picks it up pretty quickly. Now, mine does not have the white outline black, or the back sight. Mine has the solid black rear sight. Of course, it's adjustable for windage and elevation. Let's see here. So, I personally like these older Smiths better. It's a personal thing. I like that it don't have the Hillary hole or the key safety. key lock, whatever you want to call it. I just think, because back in this day and age, all the parts were still hand fitted, so everything's really tight. Lockup is spectacular. It's just a really well done firearm. It's still in the era of fine pistols before they modernized and cheapened everything. Whereas nowadays, you know, they're injection molded more or less. They're made very quickly nowadays. Back then, the demand wasn't as high. They didn't sell 1 billion pistols a year, so they could be a little more meticulous about everything. So the 686 is an L frame, which is Smith & Wesson has listed as their medium frame. It is very similar to the K frame. The main differences between this and the K frame is it's a little bit stronger. They do make K frames in 357 Magnum, i.e. this is 357 Magnum. Sorry if I didn't say that. So it shoots 38 special or 357s. A lot of the stuff I kind of skip over, I assume you guys know, or you wouldn't be watching it. But for the new guys, so this is a 357 Magnum revolver, 6-shot, L frame, Smith & Wesson pistol. So the old K frames, they had a flat spot on the barrel, on the forcing cone. I assume this is the forcing cone. You know, the cylinder aligns the bullets with the forcing cone. The primer struck. The bullet leaves the casing through the cylinder into the forcing cone, down the barrel, out the... So the old K-frames, they had a flat spot, and they were prone to cracking if you fed them a diet of 357 Magnum full power loads. They just didn't... Now, I don't want to say they didn't handle it, because they did. There's many of them that were shot with nothing but 357s that never had a hiccup, never shown signs of any kind of wear or tear. But it occasionally happened. They did crack once in a while. So they came out with the L frame to kind of negate that. This gun can eat 357 Magnums all day long for the rest of its life. And it can take it. It's a little beefier. So there's that. So let's talk about the fit and finish of this gun. Like I said, this gun is, I mean, it's been well used. This gun has been beat. It was carried as a duty gun. I got it from a retired deputy sheriff that used it through his police academy. A lot of these were department sales, like when they went to autos, the departments that issued these auctioned them off to the lowest bidder, or to the highest bidder. So a lot of these have seen a life before they ever make it to public hands like mine. This one, like I said, it has been through Deputy's Academy. Has a little bit of holster wear, but it's stainless. So if I wanted to, if I was worried about it, I could polish it, make it sharp, pretty, glisten. But honestly, I'm going to shoot the snot out of this thing, so the holster wear don't bother me a bit. Like I said, I've shot it a little bit, and it shoots fantastic. The single action trigger is great. I mean, I don't know if you can see that, but as far as creep and movement before the shot breaks, it's at the wall, like it's there. The double action is smooth all the way through the cycle. You can stack it, you know where it's at. I've been doing a bunch of dry firing with this, and I'm getting pretty good at feeling that double action trigger pull on it, and been able to hold it steady during. Triggers are great, fit and finish is great, the sights are good. I do want to replace this rear blade with the white outlined rear blade. I just like it better. Not that there's anything wrong with this. It's fine. Don't bother me a bit. I'll shoot it like that until I do replace it. Now these stocks, let's talk about these stocks. These stocks are aftermarket. They're an add-on. They did not come factory on this gun. What happened with a lot of these 686 4-inch duty sized pistols, law enforcement duty size pistols, is the guys, as soon as they got them issued to them, they ditched the stock wood grips. These came with a target grip that actually had the speed loader cut out, kind of dipped down in here so speed loaders would feed in. They ditched them and went to a Packmeyer or a Hogue style grip. They are just a lot softer shooting with a rubber grip. Somebody was kind enough to replace those with this. I actually do have the Packmeyer grips for this. I got it as part of the deal. I got them as part of the deal. I know they're stocks, calling them grips because that's what most people generally call them. They replaced them with these hard plastic, fake wood looking, very nice grip. They're nice. They feel fantastic. So yeah, I like it. I like the look of it. Now I am going to get a set of the replacement, or a set of the original stocks, just because the gun is getting some years and has a little bit of collector's value or nostalgic value, I guess. It being the -3, I think it's one of the more sought after versions of this. So if you don't know what the dash means, so back in the day when the 686 was released, it was just a plain 686. Well, there were some issues with it. Cylinders were locking up and stuff like that. So they done a recall. The recall was fixed on those guns, but everyone produced after the recall had a -1. And then, so for years, for a few years, they were 686-1s. That means that they had the upgrades, the updates, that they were not prone to the recall. And then they figured out something else that they could do to improve it, and it got a -2. And then after that, they figured out something else, and it went -3, right? So this is the -3. I don't know exactly what all the upgrades were or all the improvements were. A lot of it had to do with internals being polished, not polished, spring tension, stuff like that. It's really hard to track down everything. And honestly, I'm just not that well versed on this gun yet. Eventually, I hope to be. But as of right now, I'm not. So I'm just, -3 seems to be one of the more desired versions, right? So then after 1992, you'll see there's still dashes. They're continuing the dash tradition. However, after 1992, they went to some of the injection molded, maybe not injection molded, maybe I'm saying that completely wrong, but the cast, if you will, they call it MIM. It's casting. They went to some of the cast parts internally and externally, as in the trigger, the hammer. They done away with the firing pin mounted, or the hammer mounted nose or firing pin. So, but then there's -4, -5, -6, and hell, I don't even know what they're up to now. I'm sure it's astronomical, -350. I couldn't tell you. And then they went the 686 plus, which is the 7-round, very popular. Great guns, mind you, fantastic guns. The newer ones even is what I mean. They're still a fantastic pistol. They just, as far as Smith & Wesson, I don't want to say collectors, but desirables, the -3 is the last year for, as far as I understand it. Don't quote me on it, because I very well may be wrong. But the -3 is the last of the very desirable 686 dash models. Like I said, it don't have the Hillary hole. It's got the firing pin nose or the hammer nose firing pin, whatever you want to call it. It does have a full-length guide rod or ejection rod. Sorry, guide rod, not an auto. Full-length ejection rod. It has the full underlug. I love it. It adds a little bit of weight out front, which helps keeps the barrel down. Don't want to climb on you real bad. I enjoy the way it shoots. I'm used to full caliber pistols, big bore pistols. So the 357 Magnum, even though it's a little snappy. Now this will, I mean, you can shoot your lighter shooting 38 specials out of it. and really cake it down to where it's next to nothing. I don't think 357s are unreasonable. I think the recoil is definitely manageable. It don't hurt your hand. It don't, I mean, beat you up. It's pretty good. Now, obviously, this comes in many different barrel lengths. Hold on a minute. Let me jump back over here and look. So, Wikipedia has variants of the 686. The 686 has been available with 2, 5, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8-inch barrels. Oh, I said that wrong. 2.5 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, 5 inch, 6 inch, 7 inch, and 8-inch barrel lengths. So, as far as that goes, they cover the gambit. Everything from your little stubbies to your 8-inch monstrosities for long-range hunting. I believe they call the 8-inch the Hunter. And also, you can order this from the Performance Center with custom barrel lengths, or you could. I don't know if they still do that. You can get it ported, where it has the power ports, I believe. Smith & Wesson calls it power ports. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I think so. There were some versions, like the 6-inch and maybe the 8-inch, would come with an adjustable front sight as well as the adjustable back sight, so that's pretty interesting. I have shot some of the versions with the adjustable front sight and the 6-inch barrel. They're freaking super slick. I wanted the 4-inch. So, okay. So, nostalgically, this gun is kind of special to me. So, this is like an exact copy, minus the Packmeyers, which I do have, of what my dad was issued that he carried for his career as a Licking County, here in Ohio, Licking County Deputy Sheriff. I think my dad had 33 years before he retired. He actually, there was some controversy when they switched over to issuing Glocks. Some of the old timers didn't want to give up their Smith & Wessons for the newfangled auto loaders, right? So they let them continue to carry them as long as they could run the qualification course and pass it. So my dad had a 686 his whole employment, and it's one of the first real full caliber revolvers, or pistols for that matter, that I ever fired. I can remember shooting his duty revolver when I was 8 or 9, 10 years old. I loved that freaking gun. I remember it was a big deal when he'd carry his duty belt in. My dad worked third shift, so I would a lot of times be up ready for school or getting ready for school when he come in the house at night or in the morning. And I can remember one of the first things he would do for me is he would obviously unload it and let me set and just fondle it and look at it and hold it, and just, I was obsessed with it. I absolutely adored it. It was beautiful. And this 686 I have here is like down to the year, to the dash model, dash 3, is pretty much what I remember him carrying. Now, I'm sure in the early years he probably had earlier versions of this, but maybe not. I don't know exactly what year they released the dash 3s, but I remember him as always having the dash 3. Before that, I was probably too young to remember the previous guns that he may have been issued. Like I said, this one is a 1992 release. In 1993, they changed the rear light, or the rear sight leaf. They drilled and tapped the frame. They changed the extractor. They added hoe grips. They done away with the wood target grips. That's what they did from dash 3 to dash 4. So the dash 3, what they did is the new yoke retention system, is what it says. New yoke retention system. Yoke being, some people call it the crane, But in a Smith & Wesson, it is referred to as the yoke. It is this portion. So the new retention system, I would assume. So it is retained inside the frame via this screw right here. And I did notice when I took the yoke apart, when I disassembled this, just to give it a look, that it is a finer fit. Like, so it's like a knobbed screw holds the yoke in, and it's married to the yoke. So in 94, when they went from the -3 to the -4. So actually the -3, I'll bet my dad did have his whole career, because it started in 88. And he started out as a jailer for the sheriff's office. So I don't even know if back then, I don't even know if they issued jailers take-home guns. They may have had jailer guns that you would sign in and out when you got to work. So maybe I am right in thinking that he always had the -3. Maybe not, but maybe. I don't know what year he got hired at the sheriff's office. I'm pretty sure it was 33 years till his retirement. Don't quote me on that. That's just me thinking. And then they went -5 in 1997. They actually changed the frame design to eliminate the cylinder stop stud, which is this unit here. They eliminated the serrated tangs. So this is serrated, right? It's got serrations. Oh, also this is a square butt, right? So nowadays you can get this in a square or a round. If this was a round, you wouldn't see this flat square back strap here. It would be radiused, and there would be a gap between the radius and the grip, because these are square butt grip, right? So that was changed for the -5s. They changed some internal locks. Okay, so that is when they went to the MIM and -5s. So -4s are still not MIM. They're still, okay, so correct me on that. Sorry about that. So -4s are still forged parts. They're still hand fit. And then in -5, they went to the new MIM. -6, they added the Hillary hole, or the internal locking mechanism. -7 would be Performance Center 38 Super, 6-shot unfluted cylinder, 4-inch barrel stainless steel, 250 made. So -7s are kind of rare. It looks like only 250 of them were made in 38 Super with a 4-inch barrel, unfluted cylinder. That would be an interesting one to get. This is just me off of Wikipedia. So if anything's wrong, blame daggone Wikipedia, not me. So No Dash was the introduction model. It was 1981. -1 was 1986. -2 was 1987. -3 was 1988 to 1992. That was it looks like their longest run without adding or taking away or adding a dash number. So then -4 went from 93 to 96. -5 was 97. Well, I'm glad we got that all worked out. -6 was 2001. That's when the Hillary hole first made its ugly appearance, and ugly because I do not care for it. I think it's just absurd. And then -7 was the special edition Performance Center 38 Super, 6-shot unfluted cylinder, 4-inch barrel, stainless steel. I'd like to see one of those, just because there were only 250 made. I bet they're pretty cool. So the first model in 1987, 7 years after the release of the 686, there were reports of cylinder binding. That's why they ended up doing the recall. That's what I thought. I'm pretty sure if you look back in this video, that's what I said. It was the cylinder was binding. And then that's when they started adding the dashes. Before that, if they had been recalled and fixed, right? So if you get a 686 no dash and it has been fixed like it should have been, there will be an M stamped down in here. And the M just indicates that it has had and is fixed as per recall. So I don't know if you can see that. I know I got a bad habit of pulling that up out of the camera, but it should be down here on the bottom strap. So there's that. So now I'm almost out of things to say about it. I freaking love this gun. I told you it's nostalgic for me. This is going to be one that I hang on to forever. I love that it don't have the internal safety or Hillary hole, if you will. I love that it has the firing pin nose, or the hammer nose firing pin. I like that it's just like Dad's old duty revolver. His old duty revolver is actually the main reason I got into guns and shooting. I got my love for pistols. I don't want to say it's the main reason I got into shooting, because I'd always hunted. I'd always run a long rifle with Grandpa coon hunting growing up. But this is my love of pistols and revolvers and whatnot. So I think that's about all the information I have on it. You want some sizes, so we can do some weight. So it says, where are we at here? Let me find the 4-inch so I don't tell you wrong. So it says the width is 1.55 inches. The length is 9.56 inches. The height is 6 inches. They say the weight is 40.3 ounces. 357 Magnum, single/double action. Barrel length, they actually have listed as 4.13, which is very much possible. I did not measure it. Red ramp, front sight. What else? Stainless steel. It's kind of a matte stainless. It's not a super high polish stainless. It may end up being that just if I decide to work out the holster wear. It has the double action trigger pull not listed. So that's interesting. It don't list the weight of the factory trigger pull. And I couldn't tell you. I need to get a trigger pull gauge. I will get one eventually. I just don't have one right now. So I watched this old boy on here that is a gunsmith, and he says that a good Smith & Wesson trigger, you ought to be able to stick something in the barrel, right? For single action, you want the actual trigger to support the weight of the gun. See, this one is pretty close to not supporting the weight. A little bit of bump and it goes. But it don't if you just hold still. So it does support the weight. I would say this trigger, as far as safety's sake goes, I wouldn't mind it a little later. But for general everybody safety, the supporting its own weight is a good rule to go by. Like I said, it don't take much of a jostle. So I would say that just years of use have broke this thing in to be a very fine trigger. Now, I haven't had the side plate off this yet to clean it up. I'm sure that it'll act a little bit better if I get it cleaned up. This is probably clear full of oil, gunk, and junk, like most of these old guns are. So I'll get that all cleaned up, get all the crappy oil gunk out of there, and it'll probably feel even a little better at that point. So they have a new model, right? Not the Dash 3, but the new version. I don't even know what Dash they're on. They have it manufactured suggested retail at $9.59. I don't have that in it. I traded into this. I do that a lot. Trade and dicker around until I get what I want. I kind of lucked into this. I found a fellow that wanted what I had, and I wanted what he had, and we both walked away very happy. So, and also I made a friend out of the deal. He ended up being a great guy. We sat and talked for like 2 hours, which is weird because I normally don't like people. So he's a retired deputy from his state. I don't want to give too much personal information about the guy. He probably wouldn't appreciate it. And now he works for a local police department, so he's kind of double dipping. Good for him. Wish him the best of luck in all he does. But yeah, so that's it. That's my 686 L frame. Smith & Wesson 686-3. It is a fine gun. And my dad's been gone for a few years now, and I kind of feel a little closer to him when I hold this, if that makes sense. So, anyway, once I get the factory grips and get these replaced, I might do another little short, quick video just to show you all that. So if you're curious about whether you should buy an old version, model 686, as long as it's well taken care of and not beat to death, I highly recommend it. I think there's some diamonds in the rough. Like I said, this one has a little bit of horseshoe wear. Don't look near as fine as it is. As far as shooters go, man, that's what these guns were made for. They're shooters. Combat magnums, if you will, or off of that line of Smith & Wesson 357 magnums. So, yeah, I highly recommend it. Anyway, if y'all have any questions that I didn't get to, I know I get a little long-winded on these things, but I enjoy talking about them. I enjoy looking at it. I enjoy fondling it and fooling with it. Like I said, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down in the comments, and I'll get back to you. If you want to see a review on this little feller, which is kind of special, this little guy here, he has been discontinued for several years. Everybody's like, oh, I got one of them. That's a 642. No, it's not. This is a 342. It's actually Scandinavium and titanium. It's the Airlight TI. Not many of these are out there. Not many. I believe the reason they discontinued them is because people didn't want to pay for them. They were so expensive to make that they couldn't recover the cost. People just didn't want to pay that much for them. My wonderful wife got this for me years ago. I've had this gun. I mean, look at it. It is beat to death. I have carried this gun now for over 20 years, I'm sure. Every bit of it. And it, even though it looks like a turd, it shoots fantastic. This is a great little gun. 38 special plus P plus. Loaded up, or plus P, I guess, not plus P plus, sorry about that. Loaded up with 158 grain, 38 special plus Ps. This thing is a handful, but man, it will shoot. And it loves them. I just wish your hand did too. Anyway, so if you want to see a review on that little guy, just leave it down in the comments, and I will do that. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I appreciate y'all. Bye.